Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, we're going to be taking a look at 15 things you need to know about the Grotti Itali RSX sports car before it arrives in Grand Theft Auto Online. So, one of the most highly anticipated vehicles from the drip feed of the Cayo Perico Heist, we're going to be going over some things you need to know today before you end up purchasing this car. So, for starters, let's talk about the price. It's available on the Legendary Motorsports site. It has a buy it now price of $3,465,000 and a trade price of $2,598,000. Now, since we are on the subject of price, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering how you actually acquire that trade price. Well, after the completion of the Cayo Perico heist, you'll actually receive a Moody Man free roam mission provided by Tom Connors. And essentially, all you have to do is complete that mission, which is very easy and straightforward, and you will unlock the trade price, which will basically save you around $1 million. So for this vehicle, it is very much well worth it. So I would highly recommend that you ultimately do that. Obviously, this is in the sports car class, but it looks a little awkward for a sports car, mainly because this is based off of one of the most impressive supercars in real life, the 2020 Ferrari SF90 Stradale, with a little bit of a Ferrari F8 Tributo influence in there as well. So that's why it's a little bit weird that this thing is just rocking the sports car class, when in real life it is very much based off of an impressive supercar. But anyways, let's take this guy into the Los Santos custom shop and start customizing this thing. And I was actually really impressed with the amount of customization, 22 unique options, which is pretty good, especially for a sports car. Now, the first unique thing you're able to do on this vehicle is the bumper options, where you do have a handful. Now, the one thing that I was a little bit disappointed in is that you can't actually remove the splitter. Like, that thing is stuck on there whether you want it or not. There is no way to remove it, which some people might be a little bit frustrated with, especially if you were looking for a cleaner look on the actual car. So that's with the front bumper. And the back bumper, again, you have some similar options too. You really can't get rid of the diffuser. It's there permanently. You can just sort of alter how impressive it is or the colors that are on there. So some people might like that. Some people might really dislike that. Now, after the bumper, you have your exhaust options. Again, there's a handful of them here that are varied a bit, going from chrome to aluminum to expansive exhaust. There's a couple of fun options there that you can apply to the back of the car. And then after that, there's hood options, where you have 14 in total. So this is where you can really start to get creative with this vehicle, adding some carbon fiber looks on there, adding some vents and dishes and all sorts of fun stuff. So some cool options that you can go with right there. Then we move on to our liveries, and these are where the liveries get really fun. So we have 11 of them in total. The first is tricolor, which essentially is giving us the colors of the Italian flag and a nice stripe going from the front to the back. This one is pretty simple, but in my opinion looks really, really good. Obviously, as you guys know, Grotti is based off of the real-life manufacturer Ferrari, which is Italian. So that's why you've got the Italian flag colors right there. After that, it is Grotti Stripe, which is 2 white stripes with a black stripe in the middle. Again, this one very simple to tricolor, very simple, but also looks really good, especially because how well it lines up with the Grotti shield and then the shark fin antenna on the top. So that is Grotti Stripe. After that, it is Streamline, and Streamline kind of looks like there's an anchor on the front, like that's the shape that I'm describing. You've got the white stripe that runs across the top, back, and front of the car. But then as you get towards the headlights, you have that sort of like anchor shape there. I don't know if that's the most accurate way to describe that, but that's what I'm going to go with. So that is Streamline. The next one is Edgelord, and I'm sure there is some like reference here that I'm not getting. But basically the back is like this silverish gray gradient. And then you've got like this orange sort of geometric line sort of on the top. And on the back, it just says buy, which is interesting. So maybe some of you guys can tell me the reference right there. I don't understand it, but Rockstar certainly does, and they were definitely going for something. Up next, it is White Pinstripe, which with the white pinstripes, it basically puts these white stripe designs along the curves of the car. So whether that be on the hood or the door sill, you're going to see that. You're also going to see a handful of sponsorships too, like Aero Gasoline and 32 written on the side of the car. And as you would imagine, gold pinstripe is literally the exact same thing. Like, no differences at all, just gold instead of white. So those are your two pinstripe liveries right there. After that, it is Candy Box Racer. Candy Box Racer is our first sort of like NASCAR Formula One style livery. You've got a couple of sponsorships right here on the car. You also have like these gray gradient fills on there too, where a lot of the primary color will be replaced by this gray color. So just keep that in mind if you apply this livery. So that is Candy Box Racer. After that, it is Dual Tone, and I would really like Dual Tone if it didn't have all these random freaking sponsorships on here. I don't know why Rockstar's decided to go for that, but they're just sort of placed all over the car. So I don't really love this design just because it has so much randomness going on there, but I do like the Dual Tone. I just wish it was plain, to be totally honest with you. Up next, it's Tri-Stripe, and it's the same thing here. Tri-Stripe would be awesome. It has these same curves as the pinstripe one, but it also has these random like sponsorships on here, which I do think takes away from the clean look of the car. These sponsorships are a little bit better. They seem to be less random, but still not great. After that, it is Khaki, which is giving us our like camo design here. This is sort of fun. Again, I don't understand the reference of the name, so maybe you guys can help us out there. But that is Khaki. And the final one is Monochrome, which is similar to Khaki, but it's more of like a black and white geometric pattern on here as far as our camouflage goes. So those are all your liveries right there. I think at the end of the day, I ended up going with Tri-Stripe, the very first one, because it was honestly the cleanest, and that's kind of what I was going for here. So that's your liveries. After that, you have mirror options. You only have a couple ones, secondary, carbon, not a lot of changes there. After that, it is the rear panel that you have towards the engine block, and you can actually do some pretty fun ones here. Like you can add some vents and some different types of panels if you wanted to change it up a bit. And then we move on to our color groups, where you actually have primary, secondary, and trim. So the primary color is going to affect everything that you have set on the outside of the car to primary, as well as basically the entire body of the vehicle. It will also change the color of the stitching inside of the vehicle as well. So not the color of the interior, just the stitching on the inside is going to match your primary color. Your secondary color has an interesting change, so it affects sort of the bottom part of the door sill. Obviously, everything else you chose as secondary, but with the wheels on this car, which are custom rims, it's also going to change the color of them too. So you have to be very careful here. If you want to change the color of the rims, it's also going to change that color at the bottom of the door sill. So if you wanted to go for a different color, just be warned that it's not just going to be on your wheels only. So just keep that in mind right there. And then, of course, when you get to the trim color, that is going to affect the interior of the car, and that is it. So nothing special regarding the trim color. Now, a couple of other things you can do with this vehicle. I told you there's a lot of customization. Some roof options, whether you want carbon fiber, ridgeline, or an inset roof. There's a lot of things that you can do here. There's also a lot of skirt options as well, with various fins and lips and even super skirts, which are pretty intense. So again, just pick and choose which one you want. And then there are some spoiler options on here. Now, what's interesting about the Itali RSX is it does have an active spoiler. So think of like the T20. Think of the Nero. All vehicles in game that have an active spoiler, which I'll show you guys in a second. So if you do apply a spoiler on there, know that there's also going to be an automatic auto one as well, which you guys will get to see in a minute. It's one of my favorite features on sports cars and supercars in GTA Online. Now, after that, there really isn't much you can do other than modify the tail fin, which is going to be that antenna at the top for like satellite radio in real life. So you can basically just change the color or add an aftermarket look. And other than that, that is it. That is everything you can do customization-wise in the Grotti Itali RSX. Now, a couple of other quirks with this vehicle is you can open all of the doors, including the hood and the trunk. So as you guys can see here, it's pretty nice for car shows, like if you wanted to open up everything up, especially that engine block in the back. That is just absolutely gorgeous. The fact that you can see all the detail of the engine, and obviously the trunk, that's pretty cool. And other than that, I just wanted to check out the headlights. There's nothing really special there as far as having high beams and low beams, which is kind of unfortunate because I feel like Rockstar could have done a really cool design, but nothing really all that special there with the headlights. And again, the only other interesting feature that I mentioned is that active auto spoiler that comes on when you accelerate and you brake, but we've seen that on a handful of vehicles in the past, like the Nero and the T20. So that right there is 15 things you need to know about the Itali RSX here in Grand Theft Auto Online before you end up buying it. Again, I think the biggest surprise about this vehicle is that this is in the sports car class, when in real life this is based off of one of the most menacing supercars the world has ever seen. So I'm not sure what Rockstar's decision making here was. The only other thing I can tell you about is the in-game description on the in-game website, which is hilarious on Legendary Motorsports site. So it says, warning, not safe for work. There's a sexy single car in your area looking for a ride. Interested? Just open a private tab and check out these candid pics of the RSX's sultry bodywork, hourglass waist, soft front, and silken A-line. But before you take it to the next level and see what's under the hood, turn off your webcam and mute your mic. The conference call you're ignoring is about to see your O-face, which again is a hysterical description for this sports car. Just wanted to include that in this video today. But anyways, that right there is 15 things you need to know about the Grotti Itali RSX before you end up buying it here in Grand Theft Auto Online when it does arrive. We don't know when that's going to be, but imagine in a couple of weeks or months at the maximum. Let me know what you guys think about this vehicle in the comments down below. You're going to be buying it? You're going to be staying away from it? Let me know what you think down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Cayo Perico Heist videos that I'll be doing here on my channel over the next couple of days and weeks. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.